Alright folks, welcome back again to what has turned into pretty much just my weekly dose of depression, aka League Racing in this game. We are joining here at the end of qualifying for Britain, the easiest track to drive in the game, and also I would say the worst track for League Racing because it's just really easy, so the gaps in the field are really small, and there's tons of straightaways, so it's just a bunch of slipstreaming. So everyone that even has decent pace is just going to be in a DRS train up front. So you just have to hope that no bullshit happens to you over the course of the race. Luckily for us, we have amazing luck in this league, and that kind of thing never happens. So that basically means a free win, right? Well, going into our final run of qualifying, we sacrificed some things in terms of one lap pace to make sure that we have a good car on race trim, and we are currently like I think 4 tenths off of pole position, so not a great start. You can see we are P4 out of 16 drivers that showed up so far, so not a good look for us so far, but we are up a tenth here and plenty of time to gain in the latter stages of the lap over my first lap. Now we fall down to P5, so banking time. A solid S section there, could have hung it closer to the inside though, so still not optimal. You can see the delta always improving, getting close to being a full tenth up on our time. We're going to need more than that through the final 3 quarters. Nice and early to the throttle. You can see we gain almost a full tenth in that corner alone. His fastest laps are just pouring in every couple seconds. Gain a lot of time into that last braking point. Didn't go too deep like I did on the first run. We improved by 0.282, but that was still only good enough to give us a 4th position, even though we improved by almost 3 tenths of a second. But we are still well within the realms of being able to be in that lead group, which is all that matters on this track. So it will be P4 for us for the race on the most boring track to league race in the game. I would even argue worse than Monaco, because at least there's more of a skill gap to Monaco and strategy. Alright, looking to turn our fortune around after just race after race after race after race after race of dealing with absolute bullshit. We at least got to qualify for this race, so we're already doing better than last week. We get a fantastic launch off the line, but not too much space to work with. We're going to be on the inside of Nicolo in the Alfa Romeo. We get past him into turn 1, so that's going to be us into 3rd place. Jensen's battling with the guy that was kind enough to hit us on purpose in Netherlands. They're going to go side by side, but no way through for us, so we have to check up a little bit. That might make us susceptible to Nicolo passing us back behind us. And they touch wheels going down the straightaway, but we're just going to slot him behind. No point at all at being over aggressive on this track, because you're not going to be able to break away out in front anyhow. So it's all about just slotting into a position, just chilling out and seeing how things develop over time. And speaking of playing the long game, that is not what Nicole's going to do behind us. He's going to use a lot of meter to pass us back early in this race. And this is what I don't need, because now that puts me in a position where the Red Bull is going to be able to get around me. Almost doesn't leave me space there. We make contact in the exit. And this is what we don't need. You know, no one's going to break away from anyone here, unless if people fight like this uselessly, which is exactly what's happening right now. I don't want to be in these battles early on, but it's what people are doing, I guess. I want to save my meter for the long game, because I assume that there's not going to be many safety cars here since this track is so easy to drive. So yeah, all of this useless battling right now is not what I want at all, but again, you know, we're still just in the leading DRS train, so it doesn't really make any difference at all. It was just a lot of risk there for pretty much no reason. And to illustrate why I didn't want this, is because of all the battling of people using different amount of DRS, a gap formed in front of the Red Bull. Now it's going to benefit me because I'm going to be able to get by on with DRS, but it's going to be very hard to not get into a DRS trading session with this guy, because I now don't have DRS in the group in front. And this is what I don't need. People fighting each other for no reason, just deciding, hey, I'm just going to blow my whole load of meter now, so fuck you. And that's just what can happen here in Britain. At any moment, someone can just decide that they want to use all the meter, get in front of you, and then have worse pace because they used all their DRS, and then now you're out of the DRS train. And that's kind of the situation that I'm in right now, so I need to have really good race pace here and really focus for these next few laps to make sure I nail these laps with using the least amount of ERS possible, so I can get back into this leading DRS train while at the same time not getting into a constant fight with this guy behind. That's already showed me that he wants to battle at any given opportunity. You see he has the run there, and I have to give him the space because he's just barely going to dive and get a nose in on the inside, and I give him the room just to make sure that no incidents happen. And like I said, this is exactly what I don't need. There's absolutely no reason for us to be fighting to the death. Not even 20% into the race of Britain. There's just no reason for this right now, but because these people don't think about the long game, and I'm just getting held up. And we're just, this doesn't benefit us at all. It hurts us because we're not going to be able to do anything other than fight each other. I'm thinking one layer deep with people that don't think one layer deep. So it's just kind of the unfortunate thing you got to deal with here in league racing. But luckily I had a great S section here, so I don't have to worry about him trying to dive bomb me into that corner, and hopefully I can use the next half a lap or so to catch back up to this lead group, if I even have the pace to do that to begin with. As time would go on, you can see we have caught up to the group ahead, which was a really good sight for me. I mean, for the obvious reason that not just for the obvious reason that I caught up to the lead group, but because that shows me that what I went for in this race, wasn't a fuck up. I came in here with a little bit of a different setup to make sure that I had the pace in the race, even if it meant I wasn't as quick in qualifying. I wasn't that quick in qualifying, and when you're down 3/10 in qualifying, let's be honest, it's not looking very good for you. But now that I had no DRS to work with, and I still caught up to the lead group, that tells me, okay, we do got the fucking race pace to hang here today. We are still very much in for a chance of this win, on pace even. So that was very encouraging to me to be able to fend off a car behind, close the gap, and catch up to the leaders ahead, because obviously the top runners in this league are very quick. So yeah, that was a very encouraging sight for me. And now, look at this, they're so tight, the top three are. And to be honest, I don't want anything to do with this. Obviously, I will take a free position if it presents itself to me, but I'm more worried about a situation that kind of fucks us over for the whole race than I am temporarily getting ahead of a couple cars. I already know exactly what lap I'm going to pit in, regardless of what everyone else does and what my strategy is. So this is all just kind of cruising in the lead group and just playing the long game, making sure we don't burn all of our meter for no reason, and making sure we don't give ourselves a stupid penalty. Fast forward a while to lap 11. I have DRS, still in this DRS train. You can see the light is blinking on the back of Nicolo's car. He's burned all of his meter, which is going to make him susceptible to being overtaken. He's being very aggressive early on in this race, before we even made our pit stops, or before we even halfway into the race. He's going to dive into the pits now, which is very early. And yeah, now we just gain a position on track. I can rock with this lead group, and yeah, that's just one car out of the way. Which I feel like in this race, that was a key car to kind of get out of the way, because he showed, both with his ERS usage and the overtake he made on us on lap 1, that he's not as much thinking about the long game, and he's thinking about the here and now, and just trying to be very aggressive, which just adds a lot of risk that we don't need at this point. So I was really happy to see him pull into the pits on this occasion. And now we're just going to keep cruising with this group in front. Jensen would get around the McLaren ahead, but it doesn't really matter to us. We're very close to that group, but we are diving into the pits. This is the lap that I planned on pitting, and we are going to throw one to the medium tires and see where we end up. Fast forward after the pit lane, because the pit lane here is very long. We're going to come out in P9. Nicolo comes out just barely ahead of us, but not further ahead than he was before we pit, and we just have a lap fresher tires. So that's advantage to us, and we know that we have the ERS advantage over him because he used all of his before the pit stop. This is what I talk about when, especially on tracks like this, playing the long game is so important. And I can't. These videos haven't emphasized how important playing the long game is in league racing, because specifically how this league kind of plays out with it just being safety cars. Even with whatever the hell they called it, the other league I was making videos about that changed name like 50,000 times. There was a couple seasons there for a while where the races were actual races, have safety cars every 2 fucking seconds and all that. And you saw more in those videos how important playing the long game was. So it's kind of creates a weird situation in races like this where, on one hand, playing the long game if there isn't going to be a safety car, it's just a free win in some of these situations. If all these people used all their ERS, I'll cut myself off here because all the cars battling ahead has opened up a gap for us to go through, but that was not the Red Bull that was battling for us from the beginning of the race. That is the Red Bull that has not pit yet. So we're kind of dealing with traffic of cars that are pretty much a full pit cycle behind, so we want to be careful to not ruin our race here behind them. And here you can see that even though these guys are on older tires and we are quicker, there's no reason for them to break to an entire car lengths early, like some cars do, and then claim that they don't, or doing it on purpose. Okay, totally believe it. But nonetheless, yeah, we're still within the DRS of Nicolo, and we have at least a 30% ERS advantage over him. As you saw the light blink at the end of that straight there, meaning that he is about 10% while I'm over 40%. So yeah, passing him is just going to be a matter of when, not really if. But I'm not really so keen to do it right now. Right now I'm just focused on just rocking the pace, and as long as he doesn't hold me up, I'm not really thinking, oh, I need to pass it now. Like I said, playing the long race. Because when there isn't safety cars, then, you know, playing the long game is important, like I said. But also on tracks like this, where you're going to be pretty much in the DRS train the whole time with the leading group. You can see we got such a run on it. We didn't, what did we use? Like, not even 10% battery there, and we just absolutely flew by. It just shows how much slower you are when you get down into that derating. You really got to avoid that at all costs, and that's something I just see at a lot of levels of league racing. People just use up all their battery. And I don't think they realize how much of a pace difference it is when you're in derating versus if you're not, and not even touching the overtake button. But something else, too, that I was going to touch on before the battles kind of happen, I had to cut myself off, is that when you have leagues like this, it kind of creates a guessing situation every time you have a green flag run. Like, for example, right here, where it's like, okay, well, on paper, if this race goes green to the end, which you can't just assume a safety car is gonna come out, you know, playing the long game and managing your DRS and making sure you keep it clean, not being overzealous with overtakes in the DRS train, like all of that is not only important but vital to winning the race. But at the same time, if safety cars do come out, that actually benefits you for being really aggressive with your ERS usage. Because if you think of it, let's say a safety car came out every, let's just say 5 green flag laps. Well, if I'm really aggressive with my ERS usage, I just gain track position at the cost of nothing. Because then during the safety car periods, we regain all of our battery. So safety cars really benefit people that don't really play intelligently, playing for the long game, because you can be very unintelligent with your resources and just get bailed out for free. But at the same time, like I said, it's kind of a guessing situation where if you really think a safety car is going to come out at some point, then there's no reason to sit on a full meter of battery, because it just ends up going to waste because everyone's going to build back their battery when the safety car happens. So it's just kind of like another factor to play in on leagues like this, where you don't specifically know, are we going to have a green flag run where nothing happens, or are we going to have 5 safety cars? Because it kind of changes what the optimal way to drive is by a very wide margin. But there's no way of being able to tell that, so you just got to do what you can and never assume the safety car is going to come out, because you get more screwed by assuming one's going to come out and it doesn't than you do by not assuming one isn't going to come out and one does. And yeah, I'm in the lead here currently after the pit cycle. I managed the pit cycle really well, have a really good strategy. Nicole is going to overtake us here because it's Britain and it's just endless amounts of slipstream. But I'm not worried at all. The status quo still stands. Just want to make sure I don't get down to derating. I did use a decent amount of my ERS to try to prolong the amount of time until Frieb and Jensen catch up to the DRS train after they have pit, being the McLaren and the Aston Martin, obviously. And I was hoping, you know, maybe if we're lucky, if we can prolong the amount of laps until they catch up to the DRS train, then maybe they fight each other for no reason and something bad happens there. You know, you got to take every chance you can get. Otherwise, I can just cruise behind one of them or Nicolo and just rebuild my battery towards the end of the race anyhow. So it kind of was like a risk-free way to kind of be short-term aggressive with the ERS usage, if what I'm saying kind of makes sense. Just trying to play the little mind games and do every little thing you can to just like maximize your chances in the race, while at the same time not putting yourself at detriment in the long game. Like, for example, I had myself put a low 20s, and in half a lap, I'd gained an entire 10% of battery. So we're still looking very good on battery, and we'll still be able to build it back up with no problem cruising behind Nicolo. We're going to pull it forward a couple laps here, or a lap. I forget how far I've pulled it forward. It's lap 18. We did get back around Nicolo on this straight a couple laps ago. Now Jensen has caught up to us, and he's got a great run with some DRS and ERS, so he's going to pass us. And again, you know, this is just the point of the race where we're cruising, not really worrying about anything. I'm just hoping that I don't have to get into a multi-car battle like this, where people are being really aggressive battling us, and it gives Jensen the chance to just pull away. And yeah, there isn't really anything I can do about this here. The slipstream is very strong on this track. Nicole's being very aggressive with his battery, so I'm worried about him being able to keep up with Jensen without Jensen breaking out of the DRS. Freehab's going to throw it down the inside now, and this is another reason why I don't like Britain, because people can just choose to be aggressive whenever. The track's so easy to drive, and there's so much slipstream. Like I said, it's detrimental to us in terms of a long game. Freehab's going to do a good run out of the corner and go by us here. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. He almost hits the back of Nicolo, and I'm still just chilling here like, all right, we're still just all playing the long game. Nothing's changed. I'm going to let them use their meter, save as much ERS as I can for the end of the race, and just hope I don't get involved in some bullshit incident. And here's where another kind of unfortunate situation kind of happens, where you can see how close together the front three are running. And it kind of means I don't really have a gap of anywhere to go, because if I like dove on one car, I would hit the next car. So you kind of get in this DRS train that's too tight, so then no one really has room to overtake each other. So I just have to kind of hope that something happens ahead of me, and I have a chance to kind of dive in there and take advantage of the situation, but it hasn't really presented itself yet. Nicolo has found his way into the lead on the race because Britain slipstream, but he's low on ERS, so it's not just a matter of if someone re-overtakes him, it's when. But I can't really control that situation because, as we see now, Freehab's lights blinking, so he's out of ERS as well. So we're looking very good for when it comes to the last couple laps of this race, having 40% more battery than the guys ahead. That is such a huge amount that even with us being in a DRS train on the last lap, I can just dump the battery and at least fly by one of these guys. And I'm assuming Jensen's going to be ahead of Nicolo. It'll be very easy to get both of them in the last couple laps. So we're still looking good in the long game. I just want to get a decent race in here, especially after the absolute fuckings that we've got in the last race, where there was a disconnect in Canada when we were on to win that race fucking easily. We didn't even get a chance to play at Monaco. We didn't even get a chance to play at the Netherlands. And I don't even remember what the fuck even happened before. I just know that we are on an absolute streak of getting fucked. Oh yeah, the terrible safety car timing at Austria. It's just been a very frustrating months of racing in this game. And yeah, we got two people in this DRS train with absolutely no ERS, and we're just looking for room to get through, but no room has not presented itself yet. And look how close we would get the Freehab through the S section on lap 23. We're going to head around the outside here, but we don't want to use all of our battery. He is hanging on the inside. We give him plenty of room, especially after the shit that happened a couple rounds ago. But we got the inside again, but he's going to hang it on the outside, so we're going to make sure we respect the space. And this holds us up, and now the Red Bull is going to be able to go through, and this is exactly what I don't want. It's just irritating. There's just no room to go through, and we were just in a slipstream train. So yeah, now lap 24, now we're stuck behind yet another car. Boy, I love racing in Britain. Isn't this just great stuff? It's like Daytona and NASCAR, where it's like everyone just kind of sits in a train and hope nothing bad's happening in front of them. Yeah, still got more ERS than a couple of the guys in front, so we're looking good here in the last couple of laps. Just got to not be impatient here and kind of wait for things to develop, or wait for us to get a good exit. But we are running out of time rather quickly, so we're going to use some battery to make sure that we can get really close to Freehab again going down the next straight and be able to make the overtake happen. Then we should be able to get the Red Bull back again with no problem on lap 25 or even the last lap. So we're still looking very good for at least a podium here. And coming through here, we will see how close we get. Freehab has a bad right-hander part of the S section, but a decent enough exit. So we're not going to burn the battery here. We're not going to waste it all. And you can see the red light now blinking on everyone other than me and Jensen. We get a great exit through this corner, but he's going to block us off. We're not going to try to waste too much time here. We take a little peek on the outside, but we know there isn't going to be room to go through. So we just settle back into our position, and we just got to wait for our opportunity. We got the battery advantage, and with 2 laps to go, we are still looking not bad here. So we just gotta, like I said, be really patient. It's a lot easier said than done to be patient in situations like this, but I was happy with my discipline here of not being too ambitious and just getting myself involved in some bullshit. Because, like I said, especially after the fuckery of the last few races, I was just hoping, like, I'm just tired of getting fucked in every race. And we can see even more fighting going on ahead between the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo of Nicolo. And we're going to be able to get very close by using a little bit battery here to free up again. So coming through the S section, we should be set up really good to overtake him and probably get both the Red Bull and Nicolo since they are out of ERS on the final lap. And now coming through the S section, they're still battling ahead. There's going to be contacts. The Red Bull's going to get involved. That makes free app check up, which means we have to hit the brakes in the middle of the corner, and oh my god. I hate this fucking game so much. I hate this season. We've done absolutely nothing wrong the whole race. We've been so patient. Our entire strategy has been avoid all the bullshit. And
I have to.
Jensen is the best
controller. And we still managed to find our way into a situation where we get absolutely fucked. Unfucking believable. I hate this goddamn game. I'm so sick. I'm so sick of making these videos and it just being the same shit race after race after race. Oh man, the entire race, all that we did was be patient and be like, nope, not gonna fight shit for no reason, gonna be patient. And still, an incident happens to happen right in front of us, and at absolutely no fault of our own, we get fucked in yet another race. Fantastic. My SRL season, folks. Just another consecutive race where we don't get fucked. But the good news is, I'm finally caught up on making these videos, which means I don't have to lose my sanity time and time again just watching replays of me getting fucked league race after league race.
Yeah, that wasn't worth it.
By just random bullshit.
No, I'm not doing that.
God damn it, I hate this shit. So yeah, we're gonna be 5th in this race. I mean, what more am I supposed to do? I'm patient, I save my ERS, I have good tire strategy, I avoid all incidents with other drivers, and still, random bullshit has to happen to fuck me over.
Alexi, how many last lap battles did we have this season?
You know what our reward is for being more patient than Nicolo? Yeah, you know what our reward is for all that? Finishing behind all of them. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one where you can enjoy watching me getting fucked again.